Hello, Mr. Marquez. There's your 6139, and it is time. Okay, so we got us 6139. It's in the true Pogue range. This isn't a true Pogue, this is a blue Pogue. That's what I call it anyway. Resist marked 6139 6005. It's got a replacement crystal, it's sapphire. Indicator ring. Crown is missing. Crown and stem are missing. You've got a crown and two indicator gears here, so we're going to have to build you a new stem using these parts, which I will do. Let's say that without further ado, let's get it going. It's running. It's weak, but it's running. Got a little bit of patina on your dial loom at 12. Hands are a little patinaed up. Your chronograph hands are original. Dial surface looks nice. We looked at this previously, so I didn't screw that down super hard. Here's your case back gasket. Put that over there. I see one servicing mark inside the case back. Okay. So I say let's get to it. Let's take it apart. Movement looks nice and clean. I mean bright in the sense that it doesn't have the same sort of haze over it that moisture inside might have done. There's your correct Pogue style text weight. That's the correct one. That's what they're supposed to look like. I know. People are like, why do you do it that way? I have my reasons. Okay, pull off those little gaskets. You're like, what are those reasons? A long time ago, forever ago, I had a watch of mine that I was working on in a movement holder. The movement was out, and I was having to lean on one of those screws because the way that I had positioned it, it went boop, the whole movement flipped over, and I jacked up the hairspring. And since then, I have used the movement inside the case because the case is designed to hold the movement, and it makes that easier. Could I simply have a better holding technique? Absolutely. Am I going to? Probably not. I like doing things the way I do them. Okay, we do not have... Let me go get a spare stem. Okay. Now that I got a stem in there and was able to run things around in a circle, everything resets to when it should reset. The time setting is smooth. Okay, let's get this last one out. Okay, there are your hands off. Let's get the dial off. You've got one of these interesting, you see these sometimes. Well, first things first, your date was February 72, and so is your dial. Look at that, Feb 72, right there. This dial ring is one of the ones where it's like a mix of plated, but the outside got machined down. I think, my personal theory is that these were early Ace style rings that were then reused and machined down for B styles. The indicator rings are different. So this is a transitional ring. It's, don't know if you're interested in that or not, but there it is. Put your dial away. Dial looks quite good. Clean it up a little bit, but I think it's going to look great when we're done. Cover that over. Now, make sure I got the camera going where I'd be going. Yes. Okay, let's rip it apart. Yeah, Seiko transitioned these, the profile of these. The first gen ones were more like, the sides were like a smooth, like bevel, versus a step down and then out like this. It's like, you know, there are indicator rings, and they're all the same part number, indicator rings for first style or second style, and the rings won't interchange, but they have the same part number. All the crazy things I'm called upon to remember. Nobody needs to know. Wake me up in the middle of the night and say, tell me the difference between A and B style indicator ring, movement dial ring, or whatever you want to call it. No idea what you're talking about. But then I'd listen and I'd start babbling. Goes in there. see a mark on there, but I'm hoping it's just dried lubricant. Yeah, it looks pretty good. The bushing here, this is for the minute counter wheel. That's the minute counter wheel right here. It's not distorted. The inner hole, when the chronographs get used a lot, this is your hammer. So you push the reset button, you're pushing in this lever right here, and the hammer goes whack. This face comes in here, this face comes in here. So every time you hit the button, it's making these go bonk, 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 bonk. And so it sort of bring up a dimple on one side. It kind of keeps smashing, so that tells me how often the watch was reset during its working life. This one is very clean. I don't see any raised ridge on that side. Looks good. There goes your hammer. It's going to stay hazy like that. It's got some moisture in it. I mean, it'll be clean, but it's the surface plating is going to be a little hazy, and that's just the way it is. Ditto here with this. You see it when you have like chronic ongoing moisture intrusion, you get this kind of hazy stuff happening right there. Look at it, as clean as clean can be. That will be the end of it functionally. A little bit of S2 having worked its way out. I'll need to hand clean that. Ooh, your lower mainspring arbor port is definitely worn. You can see the brassing right there. That is because the lower mainspring arbor port, this is your arbor. This is the axle that the mainspring barrel turns on, okay? The lower end of this just sits inside a hole in the main plate. And this thing is steel, stainless steel. So this will wear the brass into this like oval thing because of all the pressure on it. And the whole ratchet wheel and everything as a result will start to tip. So what's been happening is the bottom's been tipping and this ratchet wheel's been tipping like this. And it's been grinding into the top of the movement. That's what that is. Okay, get those levers out of there. This is also, I'm going to replace this is your upper mainspring arbor bushing. I'm going to replace that with a jewel. So the arbor will be jewel top and bottom, and that is the way you want it, because that's a permanent fix to design oversight that Seiko chose to make. Save a few pennies per movement. Gotta hand clean all that stuff. And there is the heart of your movement right there. I didn't check the chronograph wheel to see if it's a runner. Yes, your chronograph wheel clutch is holding. Yep. Hey, what's that doing in there? Where'd that come from? Huh. Well, I don't know what's up with that. Where did that come from? A little teeny tiny wheel. Weird. Spencer Klein, why did you do that? It's gonna be one of those situations. Come on, out, out, out. Yeah, look at that lower mainspring arbor part. Woo, it's blown down to the brass. Look at that. Yep. Ooh, God, I can feel it. I can feel it. That's how heavily it's actually, it's a shelf in there. Oh, that's crazy. So I gotta machine that all out. Let me get that done right now, and I'll come back. I did my preliminary work on getting the lower mainspring arbor jewel in place. Now I want to get the calendar apart. I can finish on the jeweling stuff. Whoops. Okay. Let's get all these screws where they're supposed to go. Nice early one. See, it's got the metal intermediate date driving wheel, not the molded plastic. Not that the molded plastic one doesn't work. It works fine. I always look to see whether Seiko has gotten around to pinching pennies yet or not. Oh, whoever was in here before, they got this upside. They got this upside down. Not that it means anything functionally, but it's supposed to be like that with the oil cup section up. Just means that somebody was in here that weren't 100% memorized on Seiko. Not that anybody ever needs to be memorized on Seiko, but it's just one of those things I see. Okay. Actually, wait a second. I want to leave that in there because I want that as a handle while I'm flipping around on this thing. Okay, let me finish now. I've got to install the jewels, upper and lower mainspring arbor jewels. Got to pop that out. I've got to open your mainspring barrel. There is the inside of your mainspring barrel. And that is. There is your mainspring arbor. Here's what it looks like inside, by the way. It looks pretty decent. It's just the old S2 in there makes it look dirty. There is the barrel itself. Now let's get this mainspring out of here. Okay, here. There is your mainspring. It looks decent. Dirty, but hey, it's mainspring. Okay, that looks okay for now. I got to hand clean this stuff. I've got to install your mainspring barrel. I've got to install your jewel, top and bottom. And what else do we need to do? Oop, I gotta pull apart your case too. Let me come back to that. Let's pull the rest of your case apart. Where's our cutout? It's right there. I don't know why Seiko does that or did that in this case. You'd think there's a fingernail cutout right here, okay? Right there for you to get your handy dandy Seiko case knife. It's gook, but it's here. It's on top of the lug. It should be right here. I don't know why they put it there unless to give some kind of leverage or something, but you mark up the top of the case if you do it. It's just, it's driven me nuts for years. Because I just, you don't want to damage the case. There we go. Here's your ring. Let's get that crystal out of there. Crystal it out. Well, it's all stuck together. Come on. There is that. Here is this. There is your movement ring. Or, I'm sorry, your indicator ring. You are going to want this replaced. You want to have the original indicator ring put back in. Works for me. If you want to turn this ring in for credit against the job, let me know. It's one of the aftermarket ones, but I think they look pretty good. I don't complain about them anyway. If you don't want it, I'll take it off your hands. And there's your crystal, sapphire. We haven't discussed what kind of crystal you got. That's the only other thing we haven't done. Okay, so let's got your buttons apart. Okay, let's get everything. Let's go and clean. Okay, here we go. It has been, movement is back together. It's been running for about 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. Okay, just for fun, I'm going to go and demag it again, just to make sure. Because that is a lot of gain. Okay, I just demagnified this thing. That wasn't it. Okay. Let's get this thing adjusted. no beat error, but a lot of gain. Okay. Okay, so we dropped that and we added some, so let's work on that beat error. Oh, went too far, barely went too far. Too far the other way. Too far the other way. Oops, too far the... Yeah, I skipped it. Hmm. I think I need to maybe look at your pallet fork. Let's try it. Right now we're chronograph stopped. Let's try a chronograph running and see if we can see a change. Now we shouldn't see a change. Chronograph running or chronograph stopped. So if it stays the same, well, that's good, actually. That means that we know what it isn't. I bet it's that pallet fork. Because something I noticed about the pallet fork is it looks like it was just dirty, and I noticed that it didn't seem to have. I had to hand clean it, which is unusual. I don't normally have to go crazy like that. I mean, like after it went through the cleaning, I had to go back in and clean it again. But let's look. Let's watch. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to isolate the whatever it is that's doing this, why we're having lower amplitude. Okay, I'm going to come back to this when I start seeing better numbers, or when I find the issue. Okay, we are getting good numbers now. And in case you're curious what I'm looking at, this is the one of my number one numbers right here. This is how far back and forth the balance is turning. So you want to, these are good. That's a good amplitude number for this to be at. The higher amplitudes means that it's going to have better timekeeping over time. A lot of this is, a lot of the amplitude generally is governed by the mainspring, the power of the mainspring. And these mainsprings are forever mainsprings, and they can drastically affect the amplitude. They need to sit here and think thoughts. Oh, that was me moving this. That's it. That's the machine listening to the sound coming in. Yep. Yeah, we're finally getting where we need to be. Good. Good. Good, good, good. More than acceptable. Nope, that's good. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to continue assembling. And here we go. Just about ready to close it up. It's hearing, this is a little ragged because it's hearing all the way through the case. The balance is over here, the microphone is over here. But if I flip it around, it needs the crown to hear more clearly. And even then it's not hearing 100%, but there it is. So let me close this up and put the bracelet on it, and I'm going to start doing the testing and other crest. And here we are. So this is the original ring that went back in. It rotates through 360 degrees of travel. It's hard for me to get a handle on it because I'm wearing gloves, but trust me, it goes 360. Would you turn? Silly gloves are, and it does the other way too, but my gloves are being slippery, so. Your day-date corrector works as it should. This is your new stem, built with the crown that you supplied and one of the 2 gears. The other gear you need is right in there. It's in this box of parts that you sent. Something I did when I was on autopilot, and you need to tell me how you want this done. Didn't even occur to me because I was focused on other stuff because I don't remember. I need to check. It doesn't appear that we talked about what to do with your sapphire crystal. I put in one of our new Type 1 flats, which is a replication of an earlier style crystal that Seiko used, and it looks, you'll notice that there's no blue tinge or anything on it, and it shows the dial a lot more clearly. That blue look that the sapphire has. But if you want me to put the sapphire back in, I can do that. Just let me know. Your loom, everything's all cleaned up. I mean, it still shows some black marking. As I said, when you get these really dark black spots, they don't really want to move. And I didn't want to lean on it to hit the plating, because your plating, your hand metal is so nice. And there it is. It's all ready to go. Everything works as it ought to. You let me know what to do about that crystal. I can swap that in if you want me to. Just let me know. But other than that, this crystal is brand new. Okay, thank you so very, very much. Okay, we are now on the same page about your crystal. This is the sapphire crystal that was in this watch when you sent it here. You wanted to keep the sapphire, so I've got that in. I just wanted to let you know it has a couple little hits on it. Boy, let's see if I can even find them. Oh, right there's a scratch, and it's got a few across the middle, you can see. So it's back in there, it's intact. The sealing surfaces were fine, and it's all cleaned up and in. There's your addendum sapphire crystal, and you can see that blue cast to the reflection. And there you go. Okay, now we're all set. Thank you very, very much.